to treat the patient with post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock. Regarding my conflict of interest, I received some consulting things from Acumen. Pathophysiology of post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock it involves definitely ischemia, reperfusion injury responsible for stenting, or less frequently well myocardial infarction. In addition, systemic inflammatory response as well pre-exciting ventricular dysfunction can be involved. Several previous works identify risk factors for post-cardiogenic shock, and patient-related factors could be identified as age or low ejection fraction, or diabetics, or again chronic kidney disease. Also, surgery-related risk factors were identified as on-pump surgery and the duration of cardiopulmonary bypass. The clinical implication of this finding is that post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock must be expected for complex surgery or for high-risk patients, but sometimes unexpected in case of technical difficulties may be occurs. We have eliminated the surgical correctable problem, and finally, for recovery may be possible, and prolonged mechanical circulatory support may be necessary. We estimate that one post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock over 10 will become rapidly refractory to inotropic drugs. Considering that cardiogenic shock occurs in 4, 5, or 10% of cardiac surgical patients, the prevalence of this refractory post-cardiogenic shock has been estimated between 0.5 to 1.5% of cardiac surgical patients. In this patient, VA ECMO, sometimes associated to RABP, is the most widely used temporary support. This appears a salvage therapy with many advantages, is simple to manage, is easily switchable by a percutaneous way. It restores rapidly end organ perfusion. It can offer biventricular support left and right by shunting both ventricles. It can also provide support by presence of membrane oxygenator, and it can be implanted by peripheral or central way. Simultaneous renal replacement therapy can be used during the ECMO, and finally, the ECMO is not so expensive. Because the chest is open, the ECMO may be central with different duration, sub-xiphoid or mini thoracotomy. However, the ECMO increase disadvantage. The ECMO increase left ventricle loading condition, pre and after load. The ECMO increase left ventricle wall stress and through myocardial oxygen demand, and the ECMO could decrease coronary blood flow. All these changes increase the risk of left ventricular thrombosis formation increase the risk of endocardial ischemia and the risk of pulmonary edema, which are related to poor outcome. All of these changes can impair the potential myocardial. And finally, ECMO, because this is a complex circuit, limit the rehabilitation of the patient. Extubation can be possible when mobilization is still more difficult in this patient. Here we can see the relationship between the left ventricle dilation and the myocardial recovery and the risk of transition long-term ventricle assist device. And you can see more than left ventricle dilation exists, less that you can expect to have myocardial recovery, more than you can need long-term left ventricular assist device. All this concern may probably explain the poor outcome of ECMO in post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock. This large-scale study analyzed a large number of patients, 517 patients, who were treated by VA ECMO for refractory post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock. The central configuration was used in 61% of the patient, and more than half of patients need for re-exploration for excessive bleeding. And in this study, more than 60% of the patients could be weaned from the ECMO, but be careful, half of the patient did not survive after 20 hours. The duration of the support was more than 3 days, and as you can see here, the in-hospital and 1-year mortality was very high. It was respectively 75% and 83%. On the other hand, the ventricular assist device like Impella, by unloading the cardiac cavities, decrease in myocardial work. 3 kinds of ventricular assist device may be used for treating post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock. The first one is Centrimeg ventricular assist system. The second one is Impella device, and the first one is Tandem Heart. The Centrimeg ventricular assist system is continue flow centrifugal blood pump, electromagnetical control by levitation. This concept minimizes friction and shear stress, and the device can provide up to 10 liters by minute, and may be used up to 30 days. Usually, central cannulation is performed for this device, and by this way, the inflow cannula is inserted in the right or in the left atrium, and the outflow cannula is inserted in the ascending aorta or coronary artery, depending the side of assist device. The Impella catheter is developed by Abiomed company. It's a microaxial pump inducing efficient unloading of cardiac cavity. The speed of the pump is very high, is around 30,000 per minute to 50,000. and can explain possible hemolysis. The pump may be inserted percutaneously or surgically, depending the model of you can use. Here, this is a summary of the Impella family. The 2.5 and 5.0 model. The 2.5 CP and 5.0 models can generate respectively 2.5, 3.5, and 5 liters per minute of pump blood flow. The 2.5 and CP or 3.5 can be inserted percutaneously, and this model, the 5.0 model, must be inserted by the surgeon or axillary ray. Finally, the last model of Impella family is Impella RP. This is for right heart failure. This model can provide up to 4 liters per minute of blood flow. It can be inserted percutaneously. All these devices can be used up to 14 days, but many authors could report use. The main contraindication of left impella model are mechanical aortic valve or previous significant aortic regurgitation, usually more than 2, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or ventricular thrombosis. All these ventricular assist devices are style, and they propose selective ventricular support and not global support like ECMO. Prolonged circulatory support with less blood cells trauma, and this ventricular assist device are simple circuit without membrane oxygenation. But if oxygenation is required, we can add on the circuit. And because the circuit is simple, the patient can be easily extubated and mobilized. This concept of selective ventricular support therapy to be clinical relevant. Indeed, most of the patients, around 60 or 65 patients in this study, presenting post-cardiotomic cardiogenic shock, may only left ventricular assist device, and 26 patients, only 26 patients required right ventricular assist device, and only 10% of the patients who develop post-cardiotomic cardiogenic shock required ventricular assist device. This recent paper published in 2018 compared retrospectively two strategies to treat the post-cardiotomic cardiogenic shock. And they compare ventricular assist device for 24 patients and the ECMO, a global approach, for 32 patients. The primary outcome of this study was survival to the device explantation or upgrade to another strategy. It was a long-term ventricular assist. Firstly, we can observe that most of the patients, 70% of the patients, receive only left ventricular assist device in the group treated by ventricular assist device. This finding confirmed previous result that most of patients can be treated by only left ventricular assist device. The duration of the circulatory support was 1 week, and less patient regarding the primary outcome, less patient treated by ECMO could be weaned from the device who were alive when alive. Sorry. And finally, the rate of complication less frequent in the ventricular assist device group. Concerning the long-term mortality, it was these parameters were clearly lower in the ventricular assist device group. Because this kind of ventricular assist device by Sentimag requires sternotomy and cardiac surgery for central cannulation. The feasibility of smaller ventricular assist device like Impella have been investigated. This paper evaluates the feasibility and the safety of Impella left direct, so this catheter is directly inserted in the aorta after surgery. And this paper evaluates the feasibility of this approach for 24 patients who present refractory post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock, defined by the inability for weaning from CPB. The authors report no technical difficulties, but dedicate insertion for the patient with qualified aortic valve. So sternal closure could be performed in 50% of the patient. The pump has around 3.5 liters per minute. And interesting, the successful reading from the device, 3%. The other study was observational study evaluating the hemodynamic effect of Impella against LD model in this post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock. Again, the insertion was successful in all patients, and the pump blood flow was 4 liters per minute. It should be pointed out that Impella in this paper could be inserted by peripheral approach in some patients. In this patient, the author could observe an improvement of hemodynamic parameters, an increase in an increase of cardiac index. Regarding the need of inotropic drugs, we can observe a decrease rapidly of the need for inotropic drugs. To our knowledge, one of the last papers reporting the use of Impella to treat the post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock in this paper published by a French group in 2019. This paper evaluates the outcome of 29 patients with post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock. Again, most of the patients could treat by only left ventricular assist device, and the Impella was inserted mostly through femoral of axillary artery. Successful weaning was than 17% of the patient. And finally, probably the most important result is survival rate up to 50%, and clearly better than previous result in this high-risk patient. If short-term assist device seems to work very well. Without from right ventricle assist device is not so good for Centrimag model. This paper comparing right ventricle assist device in different clinical contexts report a significant lower survival rate of patients with post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock in comparison with patients who underrate at transplantation left ventricle assist device implantation and develop right heart failure. The right heart failure treatment in patients suffering from post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock seems to be better with the use of Impella therapy. In this study, putting the data of 3 studies and including 6. This 60 patients were divided in 2 groups. Group A was the patient who developed a right heart failure after LVAD implantation, and the group B was the patient who developed right heart failure after post-cardiotomy or from medical cause. It was myocardial infarction. All the patients were assisted by Impella, and the primary outcome was a survival 30 days after device explant or at hospital discharge, or the need for other strategy, for example, long-term left ventricular assist device. This patient could observe a decrease of CPB, an increase of CAT, and again, a decrease of the need for inotropic drugs. Regarding the primary outcome, which was survival rate at 30 days or at hospital discharge, or the need for other strategy, you can see that more than 70% of the patients were alive at 30 days or at hospital discharge. We could observe that most of the patients presenting post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock could be treated by left ventricular assist device, but however, if big ventricular support is required, some authors report the possibility to use left and right Impella. This treatment, if it exists, seems to be difficult, but still possible. I think in this case, ECMO appears to be easier. To conclude, ECMO is still efficient mechanical circulatory support. However, it's the outcomes of the patient presenting post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock and treat with ECMO remain. This bad result may be related to complication and or intracardiac hemodynamic effect, because post-cardiotomy cardiogenic shock could be treated by selective ventricular assist device, left or right. This device should be preferred. Outcomes of this patient treated by this approach seem to be better in comparison with ECMO strategy. However, in case of big ventricular dysfunction, ECMO approach remains the mechanical circulatory support of choice. Thank you for your attention.